Ed, it is so good to see you. Thank you for joining me on our Behind the Laces series.
Thank you for having me.
So you are in the desert, literally, out in the middle of nowhere.
Literally in the desert. This is where we live.
So there is a red tractor in the background. Is this a functioning red tractor? You use that for doing things?
Yes, we do. It's my wife bought me a tractor.
Was that the Valentine's Day gift, or was this anniversary?
No, this was way before. This was just we could use it, and she knew I wanted one, so she got me the tractor.
I love that. I love that. Well, what I wanted to do is just get to know you a little bit more. So during your runner application, one of the things that you wrote about is that you spent 6 days on LCAP. So can you tell me what LCAP is?
LCAP is North America's largest monolith, which is basically a big chunk of granite. It is 3,000, roughly 200 foot high by the route that I took. It's called the nose route. And I was a brash little kid who didn't know really what I was getting into and wanted to do big and hard things. So I actually, when the internet was brand new, I went on the internet and found a like-minded person. Everybody said, "You're going to get killed. You're going to get killed." And we went and we did a couple of walls first, smaller ones. And then we went and we did it, spent 6 days on it, which is kind of odd. I mean, most people could do it in 3 or 4, but we were slow, we were new. So we let a lot of people pass us, which just added to the pain.
This is rock climbing, mountain climbing. Was this one of the first places you climbed?
Oh no, I've been climbing for a lot of years. I started on much smaller stuff and had a friend who introduced me to big walls in Yosemite, and then I just took it from there. And like it, I'm a jump in with both feet kind of person. So it was LCAP was the goal from the beginning.
That's awesome. So what was the hardest part about being on LCAP for 6 days?
It was probably self-induced, but there's an intimidation factor of just being up there that causes your appetite to decrease, so you don't eat enough, and it became like just drudgery towards the end there. And we didn't plan on being up there for that long, so we didn't bring enough water or food, and we ran out. And luckily, what happens is a lot of people, as they get nearer to the top, they want to lighten their load if they have extras. So they start leaving food and water on ledges. And one thing was, I'm a vegetarian, and every ledge had a can of Dinty Moore stew. So it wasn't until I found a big old can of peaches that I was super happy. And I'm good to go as far as that's concerned. But that was probably the most difficult part of it for me.
So these ledges, are they bigger ledges where you can like put the can a ways back? Because if the can falls off 3,000 feet from the sky, I would imagine that's not a very good scenario for people underneath the can.
Yeah, there's some pretty big ledges on there. Oftentimes you could stand, walk around, camp, sleep, those sort of things on some of the ledges. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. A full week. So what was your first meal when you got off LCAP?
We went down to the pizza deck and I had pizza. It's a famous pizza deck in Yosemite. Just had pizza. Still one of my favorite foods ever. Yes, without a doubt.
Is that what you eat after ultra running when you're done with a big event? Do you just go straight for pizza?
Not usually. For me, it's French fries and Dr. Pepper.
Well, and luckily you finish in Vegas, so there's going to be a whole bucket load of French fries and Dr. Pepper
Sweet.
when you finish your segment too.
Sweet.
So you are a flight nurse. Tell me a little bit about what that is as a career.
So basically, I'm a nurse in a helicopter. So at the base that I work at, we're contracted to injuries that happen out on the military ranges. We go and respond to those. In other systems, we do 911 calls and hospital transfers. One of the reasons they have nurses there is because so we could do critical care transfers as well. So, but at the base I'm at, we don't do many of those right now. So.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been at this company for 15 years.
How did you pick this as your career? Sounds really challenging. You know, where you really have to be on top of your game. You're helping people who are in critical condition, I'm imagining, and getting them from where they are to the hospital. So how did you pick this?
Absolutely. I started, my first job after high school was as EMT on an ambulance. And that led to a job working in an emergency room, for which led to me going to nursing school and working in that emergency room for 5 years and watching those helicopters come in and just being like in awe of these people and what they do, because they work independently. There's no doctor telling them what to do or how to do it. You have to be on your, like you said, you have to be on your game. And the moment I had 5 years experience, which is the requirement, I applied and got really lucky and they hired me. And the rest is history.
Well, I felt that awe when I saw your application and it said you were a flight nurse. I was like, oh my gosh, this must be one of the most intense occupations out there. So I immediately just was kind of drawn to that type of, you know, the type of person that you are, where you can be that stable and that focused and that concentrated because you're dealing with people's lives. And I think that's so amazing and so honorable. So I just love that kind of part of your personality.
Well, thank you. My wife's laughing at me right now hearing this because she knows that I mostly sit around at work at this point. It wasn't always true. I used to work at a much busier base that did a whole lot more, but now, I pretty much sit around at work most of the time.
And that in your occupation is a good thing, right? That means that there aren't people that are deathly hurt that you are flying someplace. So I suppose that's a good thing. But when the time comes and you're needed, that's a pretty amazing occupation and assignment.
Absolutely.
So last question for you. You wrote on your application, I love to do hard things. If it's hard, I want to do it. So what has surprised you as being hard so far about being a part of this team, if there's been anything?
To be honest with you, it's been a very different kind of training than I've done. You know, my training for the ultras that I've done in the past has been all about the long run and doing the strength stuff in between, doing the hill repeats, doing the kind of focused training type stuff has been difficult. It's been I'm 50 years old. I've like went to bed with sore legs more than I ever have in my life as of recently, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. I've had multiple sleepless nights because my legs are so sore.
From the strength training or from the running?
I think both. I think kind of the cumulative effect of it. I'm a slow runner. So basically when I'm, doing a long run, I'm on my feet for, 6 or 7 hours, which is great training for what my day is going to be like when I start the segments. Because I'm figuring that my segments are going to be 7 or even 8 hour days. Like on some of the days, like the big hill day 4, which I think is day 4 for me, going up over the preserve. I think that day is going to be probably an 8 hour day for me. So it's time on feet, That's been my.
It is. Well, and the nice thing about the event is, it doesn't matter if we have fast runners or slow runners. And when you're doing 6 marathons in 6 days, being a super fast runner and pounding out your fastest marathon on day 1 is a really bad idea. So the training is definitely different. And it's about doing that endurance event over and over and over again throughout the week. And it's almost the longevity of it versus doing like maybe a 50 miler or a 100 miler that can change and be challenging with what we do.
Yes. Yeah. Figuring out how to recover overnight, and I think a lot of it's going to be eating a lot. I'm going to try and eat everything I can in between my segments, in between my
eating
days
and
on my
sleeping.
segment.
And unfortunately there is no pizza or French fry place in the middle of the Mojave. So you'll just have to wait until you get to Vegas.
That's true.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, for coming on and talking a little bit about yourself. I'm really excited to see you run segment 2 and just to see what that week holds for you in the Mojave. So thank you so much for being a part of the team, and I'm excited to see you in April.
Thank you. I can't wait. I'm excited myself.
I'm Ashley Schneider, Executive Director of MS Run US. Thank you so much for watching our videos, and make sure to subscribe so you can get our latest uploads.